Hello, everyone. As promised, this is a walkthrough for that scavenger hunt. You have seen I made this assignment optional. I am certainly want to admit for folks that find this cumbersome, it won't be an assignment for everyone. Some folks love this type of exercise. It is meant to have you click on everything. And there will be points of time when you click on things that you will have the answer, and that's intentional, or it gets you clicking around. But nevertheless, we'll do a walkthrough, and I've shifted that to be fully optional. So for those of you that do want to nevertheless complete this and use the assistance here through this walkthrough, please feel free to. I mean, if you were one such person that finds this kind of activity cumbersome, then no worries whatsoever. Just a means to get you engaged with the course in particular key areas, which I'll draw attention to here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and screen share, and we will walk through this together. All right, so in the course, you want to get to that scavenger hunt assignment. Go ahead and click begin the scavenger hunt. Once you do already have this document open, you'll be taken to a Google document. And then at the very end, this just helps orient you to that you will have to click around, that you're looking for some items that Dr. Maslow Overbloom was not able to find. And go ahead and click here and it'll bring you to the thing link. I've already opened this, but let's go ahead and open it once more together. So this will bring you to the actual thing link page, which is the base page. This is in the story, Dr. Maslow Overbloom's office. And as you see here, you want to see some of these yellow arrows. These are clickable. So you can see each of them bring up something and they're all clickable. So in this case, let's say push the button, we push that button and it brings us to another thing link page. It would have more clickable objects. So you'd want to click on these. Let's say, take a look at this one. You have this overlapping numbers. And you'll have a series of Google Forms. So this thing link really functionally only does rely on the Google Suite and a series of documents or forms by and large. And so you'll see in each of these forms that they're structured very similarly. This is the actual artifact verifier for the flying red car. So that's an important piece of information. Ultimately, this first question that you'll see in every form, it pertains to something that is hidden within the scavenger hunt itself. Whereas the second question for each of these forms is something that is hidden within the course itself. So you'll need to both be tying in pieces and keeping track of the artifacts and the various links and clicks that you identify throughout the scavenger hunt space, but also actually engage in the course content itself. So in this instance, it's asking about true or false. This statement represents one of our community agreements. And then it's, we do not recognize that all relationships include dynamics of power. So it's that particular statement on the community agreements. So if you were to navigate back to the course and navigate to our community agreements page and scroll down, if you've read this content, you might need to skim it once more after you've read it, but you'll notice under the social justice statement, this is, we recognize that all. So keeping a track of this action rule, this is, we do not recognize. So in this case, this would be false. So you'd want to click false there. I've given you the answer in that sense. And then all you'd have to be thinking about is where to find this flying red car. So what I would recommend, right, as someone who, if I were actually completing this, is to just take down that information. So this particular answer is false. And then you just have to go and navigate and find that flying red car. So as you go about and explore things, you'll notice that each of these brings you to various things. This is another Google form that's just determining the answer. Which is a different type of Google form, which I know at least one of you had trouble finding the answer to this and solving that. So we'll solve that here together. And in this particular instance, this one brings you to another Google form that is very similar to the first. So there's an object you have to find within the scavenger hunt, and then something related to, in this case, the facilitator bios. And this is my particular facilitator bio. And so you just want to engage with our intro videos in that sense, get to know us a little bit. And in this particular instance, I just mentioned something that I like a lot in my particular intro video. So we navigate through this space. There are a few other key pieces that you'll need to draw attention to. The inventory list, once you click open it, it'll be set to make a copy. So you'll want to make a copy here. And this will bring you to a really key piece of information. It helps. This is just a note-taking document and you can treat it as such, but it tells you the particular objects you need to find. In this case, there are 6 of them. The artifact found. So you'd want to be looking at something that was very similar to this. As well as then there are some Google Drive document links that you can just save and archive here along the way. And those will be populated once you actually complete the Google Forms. So we've got the inventory list. We're navigating through the rest of this. We get to that link. We notice it's yet another thing link. So we'll pause on that for a second. We get to this next one. We take a look at this. And this is a key document that you want to hold on to and keep open. So I would keep it in a tab. And then we get to the other link. We notice this is yet another Google form. So that's an artifact verifier. And then this last one is yet another artifact verifier. So there are multiple artifact verifiers you have access to right away. So I would sort those as separate and distinct. You can keep them open or you can close them, just remembering where all these documents are. And so this would be a key piece of information you need, as well as this Google form here that I'll just keep open for the sake of that. Nope, not that one. This one. All right, so we've got this additional thing link here. What we're going to do is navigate through this one. So we see read the code, and there's a weird symbol. So this is the first of really the puzzles. And in fact, the only real puzzle that you have to solve throughout this is that there is some weird code here. Accidentally shifted that. And so once you're in this code, also on throughout this document, you'll see Unicode code, see if that's true. This one brings you to yet another one. And as you navigate through this page, you'll notice a few things. You'll notice another artifact verifier. And again, this is just clicking and scrolling around and keeping track of where you found things or clicking back into that space. But as you click on all of these things, you'll notice, oh, what's this? And this is the actual cipher to that code. So you've got this weird code, and then you've got this cipher. And in this case, it really is just a cipher pigeon. And for those of you not familiar with that, you have to make the association between this symbol here and this symbol here. So it's just this symbol with an open arrow to the left. And so we would go in here and we would do this. I will go ahead. I think it's set for me to have editing access, but this was a T. And then what you end up spelling as we go through this is that the answer is 42. So it spells out the answer is 42. And then as we navigate through here, here, I'll show you another one just for those following along. So then we're looking for this that looks like 2 lines and then a horizontal line together. So we go up here and we would see it is an H. Then we go to the next and it is a square. So we'd find that. Then it is E, so a THE. And then we would find this one was an angle bracket to the left. And then it would be this one here, A. Then we go here, and that would be RN. So a square with a dot in it. Then we go to this triangle, or a little bit of a triangle, at least the bottom part of that. And so we go here, S, so ANS. And then we'd go through here. So we get ultimately that the answer is 42. And then once you are back at the particular one, I think it's in this first matrix, if I remember correctly. No, it's not that one. I think it's this one here. So you would ultimately want to type out that the answer is 42. And you would get that if you solve that cipher. So I'll go ahead and just tell you all that is the answer for those who want to follow along. And so it's 42 with a hyphen. Was in my email to you as well. So once you click submit, this is where the one key piece of information comes in. So you just need to find this Google document link that it outputs for you. And once you're in here, now this one and this one are very similar. And so it's just some color and code matching in this case. And so you're looking for your individual artifacts. And so in this case, it's the class French fry, and it's green. So in this case, what would I be then looking for? Is it looking for that color green and making the association with solar system M? So solar system M. And so you would want to copy that. I would copy that at least, and I would bring it over to my inventory list, my copy. And I've got here class French fry. I would say here, solar system M. And then I would, again, for all of those artifacts, I would drop in those key pieces of information. And then what we need to do is once we find our class French fry, we can just drop that right in here. And then go to this piece of information. In this case, how many hours per week do you expect to commit to the discovery phase? And so we can do this. We can go back into our course. We can go into our pages. We can look at our discovery phase overview, which in this particular case, course schedule. So we're navigating through our course schedule. We get to our discovery phase and we see 5 to 7 hours per week. So we just navigate into this particular one. 5 to 7 is our answer. We click submit. And it just drops that Google Drive folder link here. I'm going to go ahead and copy it since I know we'll need it. And then what it does is output the picture of the French fries. And so it's just going through this process. And as you do, of course, you'll get to look at key pieces of the course. Now, if this process is cumbersome and not something that you particularly find interesting, what I will say is that the key pieces of the course that we really want to draw your attention to are going to be the following. So we would love you to spend some time on the UN Sustainable Development Goals focus reflection. So these programmatic focal areas are really what are going to help you with the onboarding. So we do have key pieces or key aspects that have touch points to both the Sustainable Development Goals as well as storytelling. As you all know, at this point, we developed a storytelling framework for the course. Of course, you'll be getting to know the facilitators. You'll also be getting to know our partners along the way. And so having key touch points there is also going to be key. Community agreements are going to be important. And so for each of these places where you see that reflection, those are the key areas that we really want to have you spend some time with. And so if you were to forego entirely the scavenger hunt and not use that as a touch point for where we want you to spend some time, no worries. Again, that's why I'm going to shift it to be optional. But as you engage with these pages, you want to see that there's a discussion thread, and many of you have already been engaging with this, but where you really think about the SDGs, think about storytelling, and just spend some time thinking about and responding to these reflections. And if you've done that and that alone without the scavenger hunt, you've done your job. But if you happen to skip this and didn't notice it, the scavenger hunt will draw your attention back to those key areas. And that's where we really want you to spend the majority of your time in the course, are all of those sections that have reflections underneath them. So again, for those of you having trouble with that scavenger hunt, I hope this particular walkthrough was helpful. But I know that several of you want to spend some time with it, and others will say, I'm really glad that they made it optional and want to forego that experience entirely. So the choice is now up to you, but nevertheless, I'll call this the end of the walkthrough and look forward to seeing you in the discovery phase.